On today's Apple Daily, we're talking iPhone 13. No, we're not. It's all about the event. In today's show, we read far too much into the logo, our predictions and other people's predictions about what we will see at the event, and iCaveAnswers, I answer your questions about stuff at the event. It's basically all about the event. I think we've made that clear at this point.
This is the Apple Daily.
I'm David for living on iPad, and I simplify Apple so that everything just works for you. If you want the latest Apple news, leaks and rumours every weekday at 12 UTC and random other videos sprinkled in whenever the mood takes me, like this video, subscribe and ring the bell so you don't miss a thing. Finally, we know when it's coming. We know the Apple event is coming on October the 13th. It says it right there. It says it right there. The collective tech sphere has breathed a sigh of relief. We finally know when we're going to see the new iPhones, unless Tim Cook is trolling us big style and he's going to be like, hey y'all, at this event we're going to be talking about the new Apple car, we're going to be talking about just AirTags, and we'll see you in November, y'all. No, don't want it. Good morning, it's iPhone day. That's what we need, Tim, listen. So, we did a quick video yesterday. Obviously, that's an AR thing. Open it on your phone, apple.com/Apple-events. You can play with it in AR in front of you as long as you've got an AR kit enabled phone at the moment. But what does it all mean? We know that every year Apple kind of hides stuff in the logo, but in a very loose way. So I checked out this morning, this is, it's just after 6 AM, checked out Rene Ritchie's video because it's always worth watching Rene Ritchie, and his kind of analysis of this logo. So there's a whole bunch of people that are kind of reading as much into it as they can. We've got Komiya KJ, who, Komiya KJ, has now changed his handle again, so it's now Komiya A450 2028. Super catchy. So his analysis: the double circle outside is AirTag, inside is HomePod, midnight blue is for iPhone 12 Pro, orange is for iPhone 12, you can see clearly. So I think the dark blue on the outside of everything, yes, that makes sense. That is iPhone 12 Pro. We've been hearing about the midnight blue option for quite some time, so that makes all the sense in the world. Will match with a nice new Apple Watch. Very lovely. The orange for the iPhone 12, we haven't actually had much of a leak this year on what kind of colours we might be seeing on iPhone 12, but that would be quite cool. I quite like the orange. I think that would work really nicely. Might also be that it's Halloween nearly, so maybe they've gone for kind of a pumpkin aesthetic because it's October and they want to kind of play on the fact that it's October this year instead of September. Maybe we could put like a Jack Skellington face on here. But when Rene Ritchie had a look at it, I think his kind of makes a little bit more sense. So one of the things that I really liked is the teal and orange, which is cinema grading colours, which a lot of videographers will kind of bring out. Teal and orange because it gives you a really good contrast. The orange kind of works with skin tones, the teal kind of gives you that kind of cool background that a lot of people use. So it could be something to do with that, with creativity. We have done a full video on how awesome the iPhone 12 Pro Max is going to be as a YouTube creator tool. So I think you can actually do everything you need to on that. You can shoot, you can edit, you can publish, and then you can promote your videos. I will put a link up there. So if you want to check that video out, that would be really cool. And that should also have all the specs in it that we expect. In terms of the rest of his analysis from Rene Ritchie, midnight blue for the iPhone, exactly, which was what everyone was kind of expecting. Also, it looks like the centre one is very much an AirTag. It does look a lot like the leaked renders that we've seen for FindMy, and the whole AR thing fits in as well with what AirTags are going to be. High speed could mean faster 5G. Hopefully they're not going to spend too long talking about that. Everyone in my comments has been saying, I really hope they don't spend half an hour talking about how great 5G is, because like we all know it's faster. It also does enable different stuff though, so there is lower power versions of it that you can use for Internet of Things stuff. There's also like the incredibly low latency, which is going to allow people to do stuff like remote surgery, because the latency will be that low that it's physically possible. That's part of what I'm hearing about 5G anyway. But it will also feed into things like autonomous cars, which is something that has obviously been coming for a little while. The ability for cars to communicate that quickly, and iPhone to be able to tell what traffic light situations are. So being able to see if if you're coming up to a red light. So that needs to happen, ready for autonomous cars to be able to stop when they come to a traffic light. So all of this stuff needs to be on a network, and that's what 5G will enable, more than just you can download 4K video faster. So faster 5G. A14 Bionic, obviously we've already seen some leaked benchmarks. Obviously Apple is going to really dig into this because it is a screamer of a chip. The U1 chip could really increase speeds on things like AirDrop, so being able to transfer files quickly between iPhones and Macs and other iDevices, iPads, etc. That would be quite cool if they can use it in that way. But Rene Ritchie makes a very good point. What are they going to call the next generation of the U1 chip? Are they going to call it the U2? Are we going to end up with another album stuck on our phones that we didn't want? And he also mentions Apple Silicon Max. He thinks that that would be the ultimate speed boost that they might be talking about. Now, there is still controversy between different people talking about whether Apple Silicon Max are coming at this event, or whether we're going to see a preview of them, or whether we're going to get Big Sur but not the Max yet. Maybe there's going to be a whole other event for Apple Silicon Max. We might get more clues this week if Big Sur Goldmaster Beta drops. But then Apple really surprised us last time by dropping the iOS public release the day after the event without telling the developers that it was coming, so who knows? But one thing that I think Apple really needs to do with Apple Silicon Max in terms of speed is get a quicker name to say. Apple Silicon Max every time, it takes far too long. We need something quick and snappy. Like, maybe once we know the names of the chips, we can call it like an M series chip or whatever. An M series Mac, I don't know, we'll see. It won't be M series though, because M is the motion coprocessor that's in the iPhones, unless they decide to rename those. It's going to be so confusing if they do that. Maybe we'll get N series for notebooks and D series for desktops. Who knows? Or I series. I could work. IMP. I series for consumer, P series for pro. I like that. So in terms of products that we expect to see released at the event, obviously iPhone 12 mini, iPhone 12, iPhone 12 Pro, iPhone 12 Pro Max. Those should be a given, but it's 2020, who knows? On top of that, the more interesting stuff, AirTags, almost certainly going to be at the event. Very much looks like AirTags on there, so if it doesn't come, that's really going to confuse people. They've been leaked for like 2 years. Surely they must be coming any day now. AirPower, please. Apple, it looks very much like you have snuck into these new iPhones some little magnet rings in the back that are helping you to position iPhones on a charger. So surely we're going to get AirPower or something else that does the same thing, that maybe uses different branding because they want to run as far away from that name as they possibly can because of all the delays that happened in the past. We shall see. Will we see the A14X? I have a feeling that the reason that they talked about the iPad Air at the earlier event, even though they didn't actually have it ready to go, is because they wanted to tell everyone about A14 so that at this event they can then go, and the next generation up from that is the A14X, and here's an iPad Pro with it. So I think they might talk about benchmarks, well, not benchmarks because it's Apple, but the performance improvements for A14X as well. And maybe we get to see the new iPads as well. If they're talking about 5G in depth, then the new iPad Pros with 5G would make a lot of sense. So that's what I think we'll be seeing. I don't think AirPods Studio will come at the event. Everyone's been saying that it's going to come as part of a press release, so maybe they're going to be doing more of a kind of audio-based press release in future. Maybe HomePods will be part of that, unless HomePods somehow tie in with AirTags. And onto iCaveAnswers. So we've got a couple of questions that have come in around the event, so let's get straight into it. First of all, from MindTech, who we've answered some questions for before. Do you think we will see any big new features on iPads Pro, or do you think they will just get upgraded to A14 through a site refresh? Hashtag iCaveAnswers. So they won't get upgraded to A14, they'll go to A14X if they come out at this event. The biggest changes will be that A14X chip, which is going to be a monster, and 5G for the cellular models. That looks like it's going to be pretty much what we get. I really think that the 2020 iPad that we had earlier in the year with the A12Z was pretty much a stopgap, and also to get some LiDAR sensors into developers' hands more than it was designed to be a full-on refresh of the iPad Pro line. Yes, it was nice to have the extra cameras, but it also, I think, means that when the iPhone 12 Pro AirDrop, because they're not likely to come out until later in November. I think the software that they're going to introduce for the iPhone 12 Pro's camera with that LiDAR sensor, people are going to want to play with that straight away, and I think tech reviewers will be able to do it using the iPads Pro, using that LiDAR sensor to get the bokeh effects in the background. I think that's partially why they've done it, actually, but also to have those LiDAR sensors there for developers so that when the iPhones 12 Pro arrive, people have already got apps ready to take advantage of that LiDAR sensor, outside of the video stuff that it's going to do as well. So yeah, that's basically my answer. A14X chip, which is what it should have been having this year anyway, and the 5G. One thing to note is that iPads Pro never came with an A13X chip, and that is because they just never made one. I'm not sure what the issue was, whether there was some sort of thermal issues that they were having or production issues, but they just never brought that out. So that's why they went to an A12Z, I think, and just enabled that other graphics core, but it made very little difference to actual performance. And the final question today, iCaveAnswers, great roundup, man. Everyone's super excited about Apple Silicon Macs, but I want to know if they will update the 16-inch Intel MacBook. If it doesn't come next week, do you reckon it will come out in November? Keep up the great work. Thank you so much to Nasil Ekenyake. I'm going to go with that. That's my best attempt. Let me know if I got anywhere close, Nasil. I think if you're waiting for a 16-inch MacBook, you are going to be a little bit disappointed this year. I don't think we're going to see it this year, but who knows? Apple could pull out anything out of the bag, but there's no rumours that are saying that we're likely to see a 16-inch MacBook Pro this side of Christmas. I think that is most likely to be coming. I've done a whole video on the timelines that I think Apple Silicon's Macs will be arriving, which I will link up to up here, so you can go and check that out. But I believe from memory, I said probably March for that. So that's when I'm expecting us to see iMacs and probably the 16-inch MacBook Pro, and then waiting to WWDC to get to things like the Mac Pro, the larger iMacs, and probably something else. This year, I think we're likely to get one or two of the smaller notebooks and potentially a Mac Mini, purely because the developer transition kit has been using Mac Mini frames, so maybe they've got something in the wings for that already. But I don't think we're going to see the larger Pro MacBooks at this point. So I think that kind of wraps it up for today. There will be more stuff coming out over the coming days, coming towards the weekend, and obviously next week we are going to have bags of stuff to talk about. So stay tuned. If you haven't subscribed already, about 85% of people watching this video haven't subscribed, and I would really appreciate it if you did. Hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so that you don't miss anything, because it is going to be an exciting couple of weeks. See you on the next one. Thank you so much.